I started gathering all my intel, making keen observations, and doing trial and error. So my findings led me to the conclusion we're all faced with decisions we gotta make on a daily basis. Those decisions could come at work, or in school, or in your daily life. You might just decide you want to cheat on your significant other today. But you know it can never be us, cause black men don't cheat. Hashtag black men don't cheat. It's never happened, it's never gonna happen, never will happen. Ladies, don't go getting triggered, I'm just spitting facts. But that's besides the point. In this story, I had a decision to make in my first job coming out of college. But before I can get into all of that, I gotta rewind to my time back in college and what my mind state was. You know, in terms of getting a quality job after graduation. So that's where we're gonna pick this story up from, and let's do it. Now, anybody with any common sense will tell you that for you to get started on your career or even get a good job, you need to work on this little thing called your work experience. It's pretty common sense, right? No, it's not. I didn't get the message. I was just there doing my thing. I was oblivious. I thought as long as I had good grades and a good degree that I was gonna live a life of luxury and of success and ultimately stunt on niggas. In college, I'm only thinking about getting money, even though I was broke as shit, and getting girls. Cause I'm young as shit. I thought as long as I had those two things, I was good. So I already had things planned right after I graduate. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna move to a big city, maybe live in a penthouse, because I'm probably thinking I can afford this, because I'm gonna be working a good job. Duh. So I'm ready to tackle this life I've already set for myself.
It's really just a matter of time, honestly, because I'm destined to live this life. It's my destiny. And I have everything in my bag, so it's my time to shine.
So I'm ready. I'm ready to grab life like I'm All Might or something like I am here. Have some shit I was born with. So the time has come. I just graduated. It's time for me to cement my legacy. Claim my destiny. And make the life I imagine for myself a reality. Or something like that. So now I'm applying for jobs that I'm obviously unqualified for. But you couldn't tell me nothing. I'm delusional. This is real for me, but I'm delusional in reality. Man, I don't think I've ever seen so many rejections all at once since the first time I went to a club and I got rejected by 20 girls when I asked them to dance or give me their numbers. But I was young, I ain't had the game unlocked. Yeah, I promise you I was young. I didn't have the sauce yet. But that's another story for another video. Anyways, I'm applying for these jobs and I'm getting rejected like I'm getting curved with the swiftness like I'm young. You know, it don't matter because I got curved like the real nigga though. So eventually, after absorbing so many rejections, I was humbled. And I had to dial back my expectations, obviously, so I was defeated. In my immediate pursuit of success and of glory and of honor, and I felt like a failure. As time goes on, you just start to think that you might have to settle for something you didn't see yourself doing, cause you still gotta pay bills, man. Let's not forget, you still got a life you gotta live and responsibilities you gotta take care of, cause now you grown, you on your grown person stuff, you gotta handle your business. So my first job out of college was at this call center called Now working there wasn't particularly my first option or my second option or even my third option. I just had to settle for that because the other places I applied to weren't giving me any looks because they was hating. I remember my first day on the job. I think two things out the gate. The first thing was, I'm gonna be surrounded with a bunch of losers. Oh my gosh, did I go to college for this? Because you can see anyone from a crackhead to a drug dealer to some people just doing some shady stuff to a bunch of locals. You never want to be in a place with a bunch of locals. And the second thing I'm thinking to myself is, I just automatically gotta think this. I don't know why. I just automatically think that I'm gonna be the realest OG in the building. I had to build my self-confidence in one way or another, like... So I went from a person with high aspirations coming out of college to a person who's hit rock bottom because, I mean, let's be honest, I'm working alongside people who might have just got strung out on some meth before their shift started. That was my new reality. I had to adapt to it, but I wasn't gonna make it define me at all. I wanna say I worked there for about 6 months, and honestly, those were the worst 6 months of my entire life. I mean, it had some good parts in it, but that job wasn't just built for a real goon like me, because working that job came with a lot of bullshit. They had a lot of stupid ass rules, and they were toxic as hell. So toxic that we only had 30 seconds of rest time in between calls, and that was the rule. 30 seconds, that's all you get. So imagine just getting off a 3-hour phone call, not the most pleasant phone call I might add. Somebody just cussing you out, so belligerent, telling you ain't shit, and your mama ain't shit, and you ain't gonna amount to nothing.
Like, look at you working at a call center, like, who wanna do that? You're such a loser.
I mean, you ain't gotta talk to me like that. Like, I already know I'm working a call center job. Like, why would you talk to me like that? You're so hurtful. Why would you say that? Okay, I'm a goon. I'm a real goon. Alright, so they didn't care about that. You only had 30 seconds regardless, so that could be an actual situation, which did happen. Minus the crying part, obviously, because I can't get caught out here lacking, because I'm a goon. I'm a man, I'm a goon. Yeah. Now, the second thing they had us do was to make 200 calls by the end of each day. Now, this right here, I wasn't down with, because I'm like, who the hell talks to 200 people in a day? What do I look like, some form of operator? I'm not even trying to talk to one person, let alone 200. So I'm already thinking of ways of how I could finesse 200 calls without having to actually make 200 calls. So I put my detective hat on and I became Sherlock Holmes, the black version. I started gathering all my intel, making keen observations, and doing trial and error. So my findings led me to the conclusion that the supervisors wasn't as, efficient when computing the numbers. So just a quick breakdown on how the whole process worked. You come in, you get a bunch of numbers assigned to you. Some numbers go to voicemail, some numbers people pick up on, some numbers are disconnected. Anytime you dial a number, it counts towards your total numbers for that day. Obviously, they said disconnected numbers don't count because you're not talking to anybody. But through my investigation, I found that they didn't have a clear way of deciphering what an active number from what a disconnected number was. They just went by the time you spent on the phone when you actually dial a number. You already know I was going to use this information to my advantage. Anytime I came across a disconnected number, I would call that number multiple times, a plethora of times. Could be 20 to 30, could be 30 to 40. I don't know, it just really depends on the day and how I feel. But I would have to stay on the phone for like an extra 5 minutes to just give off the illusion that I was actually on a phone call or leaving a voicemail. Because you never know who's watching. The feds could be watching. I had to cover up my tracks. Being a real nigga and all. Can't get caught lacking out here in these streets. And best believe I kept this information to myself because I knew deep down inside that this was gonna be my ticket to get to the top. I was making well over 200 calls daily. They thought I was the best employee, but I'm not gonna lie to you, about 70% of those calls were all disconnected. So me being a very cautious person and all, I wanted to test my method out. I wanted to see if I could use this method for the long haul. So there'd be days where I make legit calls, and there'd be days where I make more disconnected calls than legit calls. I wanted to see if they were gonna pick up on it, and they didn't. And that's when I knew that your boy had the juice. And that's when I fully decided that going forward, I'm only gonna be making disconnected calls. So for a couple weeks, the world was mine. I was untouchable. I had everything figured out. Man, I got so comfortable that I might have developed a pattern where I might have been clocking in 30 minutes before my shift started. So I might have been getting 30 minutes overtime before I actually had to go into work. I might have done this, I might have not, but if I did do it, I didn't get caught. Pause. I do not condone anybody do this. Honestly, this was not a smart thing for me to do. I could have potentially gotten in big trouble. This was just me years ago thinking I was slick. I was beating the system. I thought I was the man. But I wasn't. Okay, back to the story. So with this advantage I had and this success I was having, I figured I could possibly up the ante more and add something to this trail I was already setting for myself. So I decided that I was just gonna start taking naps every day at 1:30 because for some odd reason I'd be the most exhausted at that time while doing my work. And by work I mean making my fake disconnected calls, but that's besides the point. I still gotta take my naps. I'm exhausted. I gotta sleep. I gotta take my naps. I'm young. I'm still growing. Let me live. Damn. So I got away with it for some time till my supervisor just decided she wanted to do a job on this fateful day. So she walks around the whole room trying to inspect everybody. So she see me passed out on my desk, snot nose and everything. I'm out like a light. She wakes me up and she says to me,
Excuse me, young man. This is highly unprofessional and highly unacceptable. Please refer to your job manual and you will see that this offense is deemed punishable by 2 weeks suspension with no pay. Unless you're trying to do something strange for a piece of change and you know I'm gonna let you off the hook. I'm just playing. She didn't say that part. Man, I thought she was gonna rat on me, so I started pleading with her. I'm like, please don't tell the higher ups, and by higher ups I mean corporate. Don't tell them, please. I'm young, I'm struggling, I'm young. I need this job. I need to put some food on my table. I'm young and I'm black, so I'm struggling. I ain't gonna lie, she ain't rat on me. She held it down for a real nigga. She just knew I was just a young nigga trying to come up in the game, and I respect that, and I admired that. And I never forget that. But that experience didn't even stop me because I kept taking naps. And that's what led to the beginning of my downfall.